Do you know what is accounting fraud? Let me explain to you. Accounting fraud is the intentional modification or fabrication of financial statements to mislead stakeholders about a company's financial health. It frequently involves measures such as inflating sales, understating expenses, or overstating assets to make a company appear more profitable than it is. First, I will explain to you about tone at the top. In the context of 1MDB crisis, the tone at the top refers to ethical climate and culture established by top management, which includes government officials and investment fund executives. The tone at the top influences the organization's belief, attitudes, and behaviors in terms of integrity and ethical conduct, ultimately influencing the ethical environment throughout the organization. In the case of 1MDB, the top management led accountability, transparency, and ethical leadership. According to reports, top management, including former Malaysian Prime Minister Najib Razak and other government officials, contributed significantly to creating an environment conducive to fraud and corruption. They put pressure on lower level employees to engage in unethical behavior, ignore red flags of misbehavior, and fail to uphold integrity and responsibility. The thought at the top set the stage for continuation of fraudulent operations across the organization as employees and stakeholders absorb leadership cues on acceptable behavior and ethical norms. Fraudulent action thrive in an environment where ethical considerations were overshadowed by personal gain and political goals, and accountability was non-existent. Overall, the tone at the top of 1MDB affair emphasized the need of ethical leadership, integrity, and accountability in determining organization ethical behavior in order to establish an integrity drive culture and prevent wrongdoing within organization. Next, I will explain about asymmetric information. In the context of 1MDB affair, asymmetric information refers to a situation in which certain individuals participating in fraudulent actions had more or superior information than other parties, such as investors, regulators, and the general public. This information gap enabled those who committed the fraud to conceal their actions and mislead stakeholders about the true nature of the organization's financial health and performance. Asymmetric information in the 1MDB scandal manifested in several ways. First, transaction concealment. Individuals involved in the scandal knowingly suppress critical information concerning financial transactions, such as fund misuse and the use of complicated financial structures to conceal money movement. This lack of openness inhibited stakeholders from appropriately analyzing the risk connected with their investments and making sound decisions. Second, selective disclosure. Information was selectively given to stakeholders in order to present a positive impression of the organization's financial position while leaving out data about fraudulent action and financial irregularities. The selective disclosure gives a false impression of the organization's performance and mislead investor regulators and the public. The third one is insider knowledge. Individuals having knowledge of the fraudulent operation, such as executive, government officials, and accomplices, had an informational advantage over external stakeholders. They use this edge to alter financial statements, financial performance, and avoid detection by regulators by law enforcement agencies. Next, we will move on to the role and responsibility of board directors. The board of directors' fiduciary duty in 1MDB controversy refers to their legal and ethical commitment to act in the best interest of the organization and its stakeholders. The first point is oversight and governance. The board of directors is responsible for overseeing and governing the organization's activities, including reviewing management's action and ensuring compliance with laws and regulations. In the case of one MDB, the board failed to provide sufficient supervision and governance, allowing executive and government officials to engage in fraudulent action without being held accountable. The second one is risk management. The board is responsible for identifying and managing risks to the organization's financial stability and reputation. In the 1MDB affair, the board failed to recognize the risk of the theft of funds and lack of openness in financial activities, resulting in huge financial losses and reputational harm. The third one is fiduciary duty. Directors have a fiduciary responsibility to act in the best interest of the organization and its stakeholders, including shareholders and general public. In the case of 1MDB, the board violated its fiduciary duty by enabling the theft of funds and failing to install proper controls and oversight systems. The last one is accountability. The board is responsible to shareholders and other stakeholders for the organization's performance and conduct. In the 1MDB crisis, the board failed to hold itself accountable for its actions and decisions, allowing fraudulent operations to continue unabated while ignoring warnings and concerns voiced by stakeholders and other parties. Human prejudice and personal interest were the key factors in the 1MDB crisis, contributing to the continuation of illegal action. The first one is personal gain. The individuals implicated in the scandal were driven by the personal gain, as they sought to profit themselves at the expense of the organization and its stakeholders. This self-interest drove them to engage in fraudulent activities and misuse funds of personal gain, ignoring the fiduciary duty given to shareholders and the general public. The second one is conflicts of interest. Many of those engaged in the scandal had conflicts of interest because they maintain positions of authority and influence within the organization or government while also profiting from fraudulent operations. These conflicts of interest jeopardize their ability to act impartially and in the best interest of the organizations, resulting in judgment that put personal benefit ahead of ethical considerations. The third one is groupthink. Groupthink is a psychological phenomenon in which members of a group prioritize consensus and harmony over critical appraisal of alternatives could have also contributed to the fraud persistence. Individuals may be more likely to engage in unethical behavior to turn a blind eye to misbehavior in an environment that discourages dissent and encourages conformity. The last one is cognitive bias. Various cognitive bias, including overconfidence bias, confirmation bias, and occurring bias, may have influenced organizational decision-making process, resulting in incorrect judgment and actions. Individuals may have been unduly excited about the possible rewards of fraudulent schemes, or they may have selectively interpreted evidence to support their pre-existing notions, dismissing and reflex of misbehavior. Fiduciary duty of the Board of Directors. The Board of Directors' fiduciary duty in the 1MDB controversy refers to their legal and ethical commitment to act in the best interest of the organization and its stakeholders. The first one is stewardship. The board of directors is responsible for the organization's assets, reputation, and long-term viability. In the instance of one MDB, the board failed to defend organization and its stakeholders' interests by allowing monies to be misappropriated and fraudulent appropriations to continue unabated. The second one is oversight. The board is in charge of monitoring management's actions and choices such as financial reporting, risk management, and compliance with laws and regulations. In the 1MDB affair, the board failed to exercise effective oversight, allowing executive and government officials to engage in fraudulent actions without facing consequences. The last one is transparency and accountability. The board is in charge of encouraging transparency and accountability inside the organization, ensuring that stakeholders have access to accurate and timely information about its operation and financial performance, as well as the use of financial structures to disguise transactions, prohibited stakeholders from making informed decisions and holding the board of accountable.
So, the YMDB scandal was perpetrated and concealed by a network of individuals and entities, with Joe Low being identified as the mastermind behind the death of billions from the sovereign wealth fund, YMDB. So Low, also known as Low Tech Joe, is accused for orchestrating the fraud and using stolen funds for various purposes, including purchasing luxury items and financing the American film company, which is Red Granite Pictures. So the scandal from implicated former Malaysian Prime Minister Najib Razak, who was sentenced to 12 years in jail and fined almost $50 million of corruption charges related to the scandals. The Najib involvement contributed significantly to the downfall of his government in 2018. And next, the 1MDB scandal involved a sophisticated and well-planned fraud and concealment operation orchestrated by a network of individuals and entities, primarily centered around Jolong, who served as the mastermind behind the death of billions of the Malaysian sovereign wealth funds, 1MDB. So the fraud was perpetrated through a series of complex transactions involving shell companies and offshore bank accounts, allowing the stolen funds to be diverted globally and used for various illicit purposes, including the purchase of luxury items, financing Hollywood-style films, and also supporting the lavish lifestyle of former Prime Minister Najib Razak and his wife Rosmah Mansor. The whistleblower in the 1MDB scandal is Sergei Jusnov. He played a crucial role in exposing the fraud by providing documents and insights that lead to the uncovering of the massive embezzlement from the 1MDB. Jusnov, an alumnus of Eco's Superior Commerce, starting his career in banking and finance, working for various institutions including Bank Scandinavia, Bank the Financement at the Investment, and also the Asset Management. In 2009, he joined the oil services and energy industry in London, England as a company director for the Petroleum Saudi. During his tenure, he expressed a concern about the legitimacy of the dealings, especially regarding the allocation funds from the YMDB fund. And lastly, the ability to rationalize and fraudulent activities and the prevailing attitude towards fraud within the organization involved in the 1MDB scandal play a crucial role. The scandal revealed a culture of corruption and a lack of accountability, where the fraudulent activities were not only tolerated but also facilitated by the high-level individuals and institutions. The rationalization for engaging in fraudulent activities included the belief that the funds would be recovered or that the fraud would be undertaken. So the rationalization was supported by a lack of effective oversight and a culture that prioritized personal gain over ethical conduct.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Shahrul. I will talk about number 4, consequences and penalties. So consequences for auditor. Legal action have been taken. Regulatory bodies and investors scrutinize the internal auditor for the failure to detect the red flag during the audit process. Legal action were taken against the audit firm involved. The auditor were accused of negligence and inadequate due diligence, so their reputation have been damaged. The audit firm reputation suffers significantly. Clients and potential clients question their ability to uncover financial irregularities. The scandal tarnished their standing in the industry. So legal action taken in relation to the 1MDB scandal. So the Malaysian government has been actively pursuing legal proceeding related to the 1MDB corruption scandal. This includes investigation, asset recovery effort, and holding individuals accountable for their involvement. So after that, Malaysia is contemplating legal action against foreign banks that play a role in the massive 1MDB scandal. This bank allegedly facilitated transactions that led to the misplacement of 1MDB funds into unrelated accounts. The government is particularly concerned about banks failing to follow appropriate verification process. For number 2, for company 1MDB, there have been financial losses. The misappropriation of funds had severe financial implications for 1MDB. The company faced substantial loss due to the fraudulent activities. This loss affect its ability to operate effectively and fulfill its obligation. After that, the confidence investor for the company, shareholder lose faith in 1MDB's management and governance. The scandals eroded investor confidence, leading to a decline in share price and reduces market capitalization. The company struggled to regain trust from others because of this scandal. So for the board of director, former 1MDB director Tan Sri Ismail testified that the board of directors was used to make illegal transactions seems legitimate. Information given to them was misleading and concealed, leading to decision that ultimately allowed the state investment arm to be duped of billions of ringgit by fugitive financier Law Tech Joe, commonly known as Joe Law. So after that, former Malaysian Prime Minister Najib Razak, who was also a chairman of the 1MDB advisor board, faced scrutiny. However, it's essentially to note that opinions on his role vary and he is not universally characterized as solely responsible for the scandal. So because of this scandal, the entire board of directors at 1MDB offered to resign after a parliamentary extensive management. The scandal led to calls for a police investigation into fund former head. While some directors were implicated, it's crucial to recognize that that board's decision involved multiple perspectives and assumptions. The scandal underscored the need for transparency, accountability, and ethical governance within organization. So the number 4, there's consequences for shareholders. Shareholders are having financial loss, so shareholders bore the brunt of the fraud. The value of 1MDB share plummeted resulting in significant financial losses for investors. Many saw their investment evaporate. So after that, a lack of transparency. Shareholders felt betrayed by the lack of transparency. The false financial statement and misleading disclosure left them uninformed and exposed to risk. So the last one is other relevant parties that involved in this scandal. So first one is financial institution. Banks and intermediaries involved in fraudulent transaction face a legal and reputational risk. Their role in facilitating the illicit movement of funds was closely examined. After that, the individual, those direct implicated in the fraud, including the government officials and business associates, also face legal consequences. Their reputation were tarnished and some were prosecuted. Several banks and financial institutions were implicated in the 1MDB scandal. So some of the key players for the financial institution is the international bank. So the bank is Goldman Sachs. Goldman Sachs underwrote bonds issued by the 1MDB. However, they were accused of facilitating the transfer of misappropriated funds from the development company. For second bank is UBS, Swiss bank. UBS allegedly helped launder money related to the 1MDB scandals. And for the third banks that involved in this scandal is BSI, also in Swiss bank. BSI was also involved in the 1MDB scandal and had its license revoked by regulatory authorities as a result to be part of this scandal. That's all. Let's move on to the next person.
The 1MDB scandal in Malaysia was a big example of corruption and misuse of public money. People, including the former Prime Minister, used their power to take billions of ringgit Malaysia from the state fund for themselves. This hurt Malaysians' reputation, its economy, and people trust in government. It is clear from this scandal how important transparency, accountability, and good governance are. We need strong rule and oversight in both public and private sector to stop similar things from happening again. Investigate journalism and whistleblowers played a big role in uncovering the corruption and holding those responsible accountable. Moving forward, Malaysia must learn from this scandal and improve its governance system. Public money should be used properly for the benefit of people with strict rule and oversight to prevent corruption. Those in power should always act in the best interest of the public, not for personal gain. The 1MDB scandal has had a long-lasting impact on Malaysia, damaging its reputation and economy and eroding trust in the government. It is crucial for Malaysia to rebuild this trust by taking action against those responsible and implementing reforms to prevent similar incidents in the future. In conclusion, the 1MDB scandal shows us how corruption can damage a country. It highlights the importance of transparency, accountability, and good governance. Malaysia must learn from this scandal and take steps to prevent it from happening again, rebuilding its reputation and strengthening its economy for the future. Completing the assignment has shown me how damaging corruption can be for countries' governance. The 1MDB scandal revealed how people in power abuse their position for personal gain, ignoring the need of the Malaysian people. This highlights the urgent need for transparency, accountability, and ethical behaviour in governance. One key lesson is that leaders must prioritise honesty and the public well-being over their own interests, as corruption destroys trust in institutions and causes harm like economic problems and social unrest. It is crucial to closely monitor public funds to ensure they are used responsibly. This requires strong rule and system with everyone including citizen, the media and government agency, staying vigilant and holding those in power accountable. Additionally, the 1MDB scandal showed the importance of holding corrupt individuals accountable and the role of investigate journalism in uncovering corruption, emphasizing the need for transparency and a free press in combating corruption. In conclusion, this assignment has taught us the importance of promoting integrity and accountability in society. Everyone, especially leaders, must uphold ethical standards and work for greater good to reduce corruption and create a fairer society. Ultimately, the 1MDB scandal serves as a reminder of the value of honesty, integrity and ethical governance in protecting a nation's well-being.